Okay, here we are with Mike McCarthy. Before we get into his intro, I just want to talk about myself a little bit. Talking to a new audience today, more so the college level. My background, my name is Kevin Walker. I am a pitching coach with Portland Sea Dogs, the AA affiliate of the Boston Red Sox. My background goes to, I played professional for 14 years, had the opportunity to play at the major league level, pitch at the major league level for 4 years. Now that I'm back in college coaching, I've been coaching for 8 years as a pitching coach. Obviously, I'm passionate about the sport, and I'm still working my way up to be a big league pitching coach. But I love doing what I do here. I love helping kids, fulfill their dreams. Educational background: I came out of high school, right into professional ball at 18. I went back to college at the age of 32. Got my degree from the University of Phoenix. It took me 4 years, but it was well worth it, and now I'm in my master's program. I started last August, and I'm getting close now. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I got about 4 classes left. I think around Thanksgiving I'll be done. It's been a lot of long roads, a lot of sacrifice, but I've learned a lot, and a lot of things that I'm learning in this class I can apply on the field. But today we're going to do kind of a mock session. I have Mike McCarthy with me, who is a professional pitcher for me. But in our mock session, Mike is an elite level baseball player, now turned college coach at Cal State Bakersfield. And with him coaching at Bakersfield, there's some things that we talked about with motivation, what he's seen in terms of things that may happen when guys lose some motivation. So, Mike, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Appreciate having you all.
Good. So, talking about your team and coaching at the college level, especially being a professional pitcher yourself, what are some of the things that you see, or some of the pitfalls that you see at the high school level in terms of motivation? I'm sorry, the college level in terms of motivation.
Certainly. As we get guys coming into the college level, you see them coming from all walks of life. Some are guys that are big-time prospects that have been on the national stage, played a perfect game. Some guys are coming from a JUCO, transferring in, hoping to make a team. Each guy's motivation comes from a different place, but they're all playing the same game, equal teammates. So as the motivation side of things, we look at guys and we say, how do we bring them onto the team, unify them together toward a common goal of playing together? And each one of the guys comes out with a new attitude, a new approach. But again, the focus is on that one team, and that's where we unify everybody together.
Right. That's a good point you brought up, and I think you mentioned it earlier about big fish in a little pond. I mean, being at the college level, you get a lot of good high school players coming to the college level, and the first thing that they notice is that everyone around them is just as good as they are. So, that can take a hit in confidence and a little bit of hit in motivation. Tell me a little bit about that.
Certainly. We have guys that go from, they were a 3-hole guy pitching Friday night for their team, playing shortstop when they weren't pitching, and now all of a sudden they're hitting in the 9-hole. Well, they might not even be starting. We have guys that are coming from all across the nation, and they all come together, and now they're playing in different roles. So we might ask them, say, hey, can you play third for us? Can you go out to right field, take some fly balls, let's see how you do out there. Mm-hmm. You might not be that prime shortstop that you were in high school. You might be a guy that has to move around the field. And so every year you're seeing guys come through like that. And then maybe the following year they're moving back into that prime role of being a 3-hole guy or playing shortstop, playing first base, whatever it is that they feel is their aspect. So they're doing this in the classroom, they're doing this on the field, they're doing this socially. They're adults now, they're making big boy decisions. And those are really the areas that we're seeing each player we have to work with uniquely, but also, again, working toward a common goal.
That's great, having a common goal. But with that common goal and striving to get to that common goal, I'm sure you see a lot of players struggle, whether it be on the field or, like you said, in the classroom. But for the first time in their professional or their baseball careers, have some tough times at the plate or have some tough times on the mound. And with that, you probably see motivation waver a little bit. Guys that were really dedicated and passionate because things were going so well, it's easy to play the game. But now that things are a little bit tougher, I'm sure you see that motivation waver.
No question. And just as you and I have worked on in the past as professionals, you see a time where you go out and you get hit around, and you might get hit around a second time, and you continue to work toward that, saying, how am I getting better every day through the process, as opposed to saying I'm stat driven or I'm focused solely on what my ERA is. I've got to come back for that team, and my motivation is focused toward what am I going to do next? What is the next step in my game?
Great point you made about trusting the process. And I think this goes into the 3 key points that I have when we talk about motivation, especially for athletes, for me, is trusting the process, but controlling the controllables. And when I talk about controlling the controllables, it's really doing the things that you have control of. You know, when it's pitching or when it's hitting, when you release the ball, you have no more control. When you swing the bat and you hit the ball and it's in the air, you don't have any more control. But what you do have control of is trusting the process, whether that's preparation before the game, whether that's positive self-talk leading up to the game, whether it's visualization, putting yourself in a positive mindset. All those things you can control when you get into a competitive atmosphere. Now, when the game starts and the action happens, you trust that process and you believe and you're convicted behind what you do. And when you do it, whatever happened, the results happen. Those are the results. We can't control the results. What we can do is control ourselves, our plan, our preparation, getting to the game. But if we consistently have a nice plan, quality preparation, the results will come more consistently.
Brilliantly said. We tell our guys all the time, Monday through Friday is preparation for Saturday. If you take care of Monday through Friday, Saturday is going to take care of itself. We focus too much on Saturday, Monday through Friday is lost.
Great. Second point, and something that we've always talked about, and definitely something that you can take to your team is, and this is something I really love, is reframing the situation. There's a lot of ways you can look at situations. There's a lot of ways that you can define yourself. I've seen a lot of guys define themselves depending on how they're doing in a game. If they're struggling, if they're having bad games, not pitching well, struggling at the plate, they're defined by those things. But nothing says that you can't define yourself the way you want. Just because you're struggling, just because things aren't going well, doesn't mean that that's who you are. You can always come back the next day and say, you know what, I'm going to change my story. I'm going to reframe my situation. I'm going to start today with a positive outlook. I'm going to take small steps and making today better than yesterday. You understand what I'm saying about that?
100%. You said it brilliantly, and that's one area that as we've talked in the past, reframing a situation allows us to change things like our attitude and our approach to the game, just as you did as a player throughout your career, and you've always guided your players to do. We go out and we try to reframe the situation to say, how do I have the most success? If we don't believe in ourselves, we've already lost.
That's a great point. I love reframing the situation. I think it's great. Trusting the process, controlling the controllables are awesome. But there's one other thing that I really take pride in, and I really try to teach my players, and something that you can take with you back to Bakersfield, is you can have the ability to take risks. You know, it's easy when you're in your comfort zone, but I think you learn more about yourself when you take risks, and that's doing things that you may not be comfortable doing. That's changing your plan. Maybe changing the way you go about things. If things are in a rut, or if things aren't going the way you want them to go, it's okay to make a change. It's okay to take risks, because you never know what can happen if you take those risks. Perfect case and example is, I talk to my guys at the AA level about using their curveball and their changeup more. A lot of these guys have good fastballs, but in order to be at the big league level, you've got to be able to throw a curveball in the strike zone. You've got to be able to throw a slider on a 3-1 count, or a changeup 2-0. Because if you don't, at the big league level, they'll hit it. But it's being able to take those risks and find out what you can do, what you're capable of. You never know what you're capable of if you continue to do the same things. If you continue to throw fastball and fastball counts, you never know if you can throw that 3-1 slider. And surprise yourself when you do, but that's what the good ones do. They learn how to take risks. They learn how to find out what they're capable of. And more times than not, they're capable of much more than they set themselves out to be. Those are 3 points that I think you can take with your team when we talk about motivation.
I love how you said that, because a 2-0 breaking ball can all of a sudden brings you right back into that count. If you can execute that, like you just said, that's something we have to bring back to our team and make a part of our culture, is that we're not afraid to throw any pitch in any count. And I know that's something that you've talked about in the past, and right there you hit the nail on the head with 2-0 breaking ball. Can you throw it for a strike? Can you throw your changeup 3-1? Those are big areas where we see in terms of pitching. And then can you hit while you're behind in the count? For our hitters, guys like Dustin Pedroia that go out and they hit better when they're behind the count than when they're ahead in the count. They come out and they show their very best. They show their true colors when it's 1-2, and they've got a runner on third, and they've still got to get that guy in.
Right. That's a great point. Just a little bit of a story that came to mind for me, and I think it can help. And I tell this story a lot to some of my players, especially guys that are struggling. Is I remember coming up at the age of 18 in the minor leagues, and I was overwhelmed, playing against competition just as good as me. I always thought that this would just be an easy road. I had enough talent to do it. But when you start playing with guys that all have talent, it becomes a bit nerve-wracking. You know, in the minor leagues, I struggled. I spent 5 years in the minor leagues, kind of being on that treadmill, so to speak, that rat wheel of just doing the same things over and over and expecting different results, but the same results were happening. I wasn't able to make the adjustment. I wasn't able to change my process and trust my process. But it took me a while, and it took trial and error, and it finally took me being able to take risks to find out what I could do as a pitcher, change some things that I've done, you know, being stubborn, you know, listening to more people, applying things, and it worked out for me. I was able to make some adjustments, trust a different process, and I was actually able to make the major leagues and stay up there for a little while. And you know, it's a tough road, but it takes motivation. And sometimes my motivation wavered. So, of course, my self-confidence wavered, but the dream of playing at the major leagues, that passion, desire, that was what made me come back every day and fight for it every day. You know, change my plan. I had that end result in my mind. That passion and determination to get to the major leagues is what kept driving me to do it, and I ultimately did it. But that's the things I want to instill in my players now, and I want them to continue to just fight through it. It's a tough game. It's a game built on failure. But if you can come to the park every day with that motivation, that desire, that dedication, that energy, I mean, that's going to give you your best shot to reach the highest level.
Did you in your career struggle to find that at times, or did you always have that, or how did that come about? Did somebody guide you in that?
Confidence wavered a lot, especially at a young age. Motivation wavered a lot. The days that I didn't do well, I didn't want to get up and work that next day. I didn't want to get up and put in that extra effort because I was depressed or I was down because I didn't perform well. But it was about that inner fight in me to get to what I wanted to do, to be the best that I could be, more or less. I didn't want to sell myself short. I wanted to maximize everything that I could out of myself, and fortunately I was able to do that. But it just takes that motivation, and that's something that you can go back with your team. And for me, it starts at the top. If you as a coach can go out and be patient and be positive with these guys, that's going to be, for me, the foundation behind everything. It starts with us. You know?
Awesome.
You know, hey Mike, I thank you for your time. You know, I've had Mike for a lot of years. Great guy, very knowledgeable, and I appreciate his help here with me today. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.